Story 1. I've been kept up in my room for what feels like an eternity, seeking solace in the company of my cat Milo. We've spent countless nights snuggling and delving into the macabre depths of horror Netflix movies. However, something was amiss tonight, and it slowly gnawed at my mind. The popcorn, how could I forget it? I had already placed it in the microwave earlier, but must have gotten sidetracked. Leaving Milo curled up on the bed, I ventured downstairs to retrieve the neglected snack. As I entered the kitchen, a sudden and ominous thud reverberated through the air, shattering the silence. Uncertain of its origin, my heart pounded within my chest. Was it upstairs or downstairs? Regardless, it felt dangerously close. Gathering my nerves, I swiftly obtained the popcorn and extinguished the kitchen light, hastening my ascent back upstairs. The darkness that enveloped the stairway unnerved me, reminding me of the lurking possibility that I might not be alone. Fear gnawed at my resolve, amplifying my unease. I returned to the safety of my room, refusing to investigate the sound source, for I could not discern its precise location. Milo and I resumed our movie, my trembling hand absent-mindedly stroking his fur. Milo adored being petted, and his presence provided a modicum of comfort amidst the growing unease. My bedroom occupied the upper level, accompanied by a bathroom and a spacious guest room. Some would even consider it a large house. However, a mere half hour into the film, a second resounding thud shattered the fragile tranquility. A shock jolted through me, leaving me trembling with a mix of terror and curiosity. This time, I knew without a doubt that the disturbance originated from downstairs. "Hush, Milo," I whispered, seeking to console him as his fur bristled and his eyes widened in fear. Something had shaken him to the core. Pausing the movie, I found myself contemplating the wisdom of investigating the source of these chilling noises. However, curiosity gripped me, urging me to uncover the truth. Tentatively, I left the confines of my room and peered down the dimly lit staircase, straining my eyes to discern any clues. And then I saw it. Blood, dark crimson rivulets trickled downward, staining the steps, betraying a gruesome tale unfolding beneath my roof. The sight sent shivers racing down my spine. Equipped with my trusty phone, I activated the flashlight, revealing a horrifying sight that startled me to the core. There, standing before me, was a man towering at a height of 6 feet, his eyes wide with terror and blood dripping from his grotesque mouth. Before I could react, he unleashed a blood-curdling scream, piercing the air. Panic surged through my veins, propelling me back into my room in a frenzy. I hastily barricaded the door and any other possible entry points, seeking a futile sense of security. The pieces started falling into place. The reason behind Milo's terror, the deafening thumps resonating throughout the house. He had been upstairs, watching us from the shadows, fixated on Milo. It was his sinister presence that had driven my feline companion into a state of pure horror. Aware that inaction would seal my fate, I dialed the emergency line, frantically pacing my room as I awaited a response. "Pick up, damn it. Answer," I muttered under my breath, the tension mounting with every passing second. Milo's hisses served as a constant reminder of the imminent danger that loomed. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. "What, Milo? What do you sense?" I questioned Milo, poised in a defensive stance. His ears flattened and eyes fixed on an unseen threat communicated a sense of urgency through his body language. I surveyed the barricades, ensuring their integrity, even though their efficacy seemed doubtful against an assailant who defied conventional logic. As my gaze fell upon the window, an unsettling realization dawned upon me. How could a man of such stature be peering through a second-story window, seemingly defying the laws of physics? Dread coiled within me, tightening its grip as I comprehended the incomprehensible. "What the hell do you want from me?" I yelled, my voice laced with terror and desperation, as I locked eyes with the distorted figure. His smile widened, a grotesque distortion across his blood-smeared face. My trembling hand instinctively reached for the phone again, dialing the emergency number in a desperate plea for salvation. "911, what is your emergency?" The dispatcher's voice echoed through the receiver, offering a fleeting glimmer of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. "Please, help me," I pleaded, my words faltering and choked with fear. "There's a man who broke into my house, and he's terrifying the shit out of me." The presence outside seemed to grow agitated, aware that I was reaching out for help. A disconcerting change swept through the dispatcher's voice, the words distorted and ominous. "You're gonna die," they intoned, the phrase repeating with a sinister undertone. A scream of pure horror escaped my lips as I abruptly disconnected the call, the realization sinking in that the malevolence had permeated even the supposed sanctuary of emergency services. Left with only my waning resolve, I contemplated my next move. An hour dragged on, the passage of time marked by an eerie silence. Eventually, the figure vanished, leaving no trace of his macabre presence. With trepidation coursing through my veins, I embarked on a thorough search of the house, combing through every room, yet finding no evidence of his existence. But my instincts warned me against complacency. Barricading each room, I sought solace in the comforting embrace of my blankets, clutching Milo tightly to my chest. Fatigue gnawed at my consciousness, lulling me into a fitful sleep despite the lingering fear. Unbeknownst to me, a malevolent force lingered beneath the very bed that cradled my vulnerable form. Unseen eyes fixated on me, their gaze filled with malice and anticipation. A chilling smile stretched across the face of the man who had haunted my every waking moment. Time seemed suspended as he patiently awaited the opportune moment to strike, relishing in the agony of anticipation. The night deepened, shrouding the room in an inky veil. Within the realm of dreams, fragmented and distorted, a surreal dance unfolded. Nightmares mingled with reality, and the boundaries between the two blurred. Images of the man, his grotesque features etched into my subconscious, tormented my slumbering mind. As dawn approached, a subtle shift in the air disturbed my uneasy rest. My eyes fluttered open, heavy with exhaustion. A gasp caught in my throat as I peered down, the realization crashing upon me like a tidal wave. He was there, concealed beneath the bed, his eyes gleaming with a sadistic delight. Terror consumed me, paralyzing my every instinct. The realization that he had been lurking mere inches from me throughout the night sent waves of revulsion and dread cascading through my body. But even in that moment of paralyzing fear, a sliver of defiance flickered within me. Summoning every ounce of courage, I mustered the strength to react. With a primal scream, I lunged from the bed, propelling myself away from the encroaching nightmare. Adrenaline coursed through my veins as I sprinted towards the door, fueled by sheer survival instinct. As I burst through the threshold, the morning light embraced me, banishing the suffocating darkness that had gripped my soul. I stumbled onto the street, gasping for air, feeling the sweet caress of freedom on my skin. The nightmare had passed, but its lingering presence etched scars upon my psyche. I vowed to never forget, to remain vigilant against the terrors that lurk in the shadows. And as for Milo and me, we found solace in the embrace of daylight, knowing that the darkness would never truly extinguish our spirits. Story 2. The panic surged within me as the horrifying truth sank in. I had broken the cardinal rule, I had stopped moving. My heart pounded in my chest, a cacophony of fear and regret reverberating through my entire being. Adrenaline coursed through my veins, jolting me back into motion. Every muscle ached, protesting against the strain, but I knew I had to keep going, had to keep fleeing the inevitable fate that awaited those who dared to pause. 8 hours had passed, and my body screamed for respite. Exhaustion weighed me down, threatening to pull me into the abyss of surrender. But I resisted, driven by an instinctual fear that propelled me forward. The streets were littered with the fallen, those who had succumbed to the curse of stillness. Their lifeless forms, frozen in grotesque contortions, served as a grim reminder of the consequences that awaited me if I relented. 10 hours of relentless movement had taken its toll on my body and mind. The city streets stretched before me, seemingly endless, as if mocking my feeble attempts to outrun the inexplicable horror. Doubt crept into my thoughts, tempting me to surrender to the despair that clung to every inch of my being. But I couldn't allow myself to succumb. I clung to the hope that by pressing on, I might discover the key to this twisted nightmare. 12 hours had elapsed, and the world around me had transformed into a surreal realm of chaos and despair. Panic had given way to a haunting resignation that lingered in the eyes of those still in motion. The once bustling city had become a ghostly wasteland, a haunting reminder of the life that once thrived within its boundaries. The hours blurred into a timeless haze as I traversed the desolate landscape. Familiar landmarks became distorted, their significance eroded by the ceaseless march of time. Shadows danced and whispered, taunting me with their ominous secrets. Every step felt like an eternity, yet I persisted, my will to survive eclipsing the weariness that threatened to engulf me. As I entered an abandoned park, my gaze fell upon a group of survivors huddled together, their faces etched with weariness and fear. Their presence offered a flicker of solace in this unfathomable nightmare. With wary eyes, we exchanged unspoken understanding, a silent pact to persevere together, to share the burden of our collective torment. Days melded into weeks as we forged ahead, bound by a common goal, to defy the enigmatic force that demanded perpetual motion. We became a community of broken souls, our shared struggles uniting us in ways we could never have imagined. Each passing day brought new challenges, new horrors to confront, but we pressed on, driven by an indomitable spirit and an unyielding determination to survive. Months turned into years, and the world we once knew faded into distant memory. We had become nomads in our own existence, forever chasing the elusive promise of respite. Yet, amidst the relentless pursuit, flickers of hope emerged. Whispers of a solution, of an end to our ceaseless torment, reached our ears. With newfound determination, we embarked on a treacherous journey, traversing treacherous terrains and facing unimaginable perils. The path was arduous, and many fell along the way, their bodies joining the countless others who had met their demise. But we pressed on, our resolve unyielding. And then, when hope seemed all but lost, we discovered a sanctuary, a place untouched by the curse, where stillness no longer meant certain death. Relief washed over us, mingled with bittersweet sorrow for the lives lost along our arduous quest. Within the sanctuary, we found a community of survivors who had managed to unravel the mysteries that had plagued us for so long. They had devised a method to temporarily halt the relentless compulsion for perpetual movement, granting us moments of respite without the dread of immediate demise. The newfound reprieve allowed us to rebuild fragments of our shattered lives. We formed bonds, forged friendships, and created a semblance of normalcy within the confines of our newfound haven. However, the fear still lingered, a constant reminder of the tenuousness of our existence. As time passed, we delved deeper into understanding the origins of the curse that had befallen humanity. We pieced together fragments of folklore, ancient texts, and scientific research, seeking the elusive truth that lay veiled in the shadows of our collective nightmare. Together, we discovered that the curse was a result of a sinister entity, an ancient malevolence that thrived on perpetual motion. It fed off the fear and desperation of those trapped within its grasp, sustaining itself with their torment. It became clear that breaking free from its clutches required more than mere physical endurance. Guided by newfound knowledge, we embarked on a treacherous quest to confront the entity head-on. Armed with determination and the hope of freeing ourselves and future generations from this eternal cycle of motion, we ventured into the heart of darkness. Our journey took us through perilous landscapes and unimaginable horrors. We faced monstrous manifestations of the entity's power, challenging our resilience and testing the limits of our courage. Yet, we pressed on, bound by an unwavering resolve to reclaim our lives. At the climax of our odyssey, we stood before the embodiment of our nightmares, an ethereal being of unfathomable darkness. It exuded a malevolence that chilled our bones, yet we refused to yield. With every ounce of strength and unity, we unleashed a torrent of determination, confronting the entity with an unyielding force of will. A cataclysmic battle ensued, a clash between light and darkness, hope and despair. We fought alongside one another, drawing strength from the unity we had forged throughout our arduous journey. The entity writhed and thrashed, its grip on our world weakening with every strike. In a final, climactic surge of collective power, we shattered the entity's hold over us. A brilliant burst of light erupted, engulfing the darkness and purging it from our world. Silence settled, broken only by the ragged breaths of victorious survivors. We emerged from the abyss, forever changed by the horrors we had faced. The curse that had plagued us for so long had been broken, but scars remained, etched upon our souls as a testament to our endurance and resilience. In the aftermath, we rebuilt our lives, cherishing the newfound freedom to stand still, to appreciate the beauty of the world around us without the looming specter of imminent doom. We carried the memory of our struggle as a reminder of the strength that lies within us, the strength to persevere in the face of unimaginable adversity. The curse that once bound us had become a harrowing chapter in our history, a tale of survival against insurmountable odds. And as we look towards the future, we vow to cherish each moment, knowing the true value of stillness in a world that had once demanded perpetual motion. Story 3. Emergency Alert. Attention, citizens. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. I urge you to remain calm and follow the instructions provided. Lock all doors and secure your homes. Close all blinds and avoid any contact with the outside world. Stay in a windowless room and gather essential supplies. Turn off all lights and refrain from opening the door for any reason. The moment those words echoed through the airwaves, a wave of unease washed over me. The urgency in the voice was palpable, sending shivers down my spine. It was as if the world had abruptly shifted into a surreal dimension, where safety and normalcy were shattered. I wasted no time in heeding the warning. Gathering a flashlight, pillow, phone, charger, and some provisions, I hastily retreated to the sanctuary of my bedroom. It was a small, windowless space that offered a sense of seclusion from the unknown horrors lurking outside. As I settled in, uncertainty gnawed at my mind. Unable to shake off the fear, I reached out to my loved ones, hoping to find solace in their presence. Texting my parents, I anxiously awaited their response, only to be met with an echoing silence. It sent chills down my spine, a grim reminder that we were all vulnerable to the impending threat. As the minutes ticked by, another emergency alert disrupted the stillness. Emergency alert. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. Unidentified creatures have emerged, ruthlessly targeting those who dare to open their doors. Several major cities have become hotspots, including Washington, D.C., Tokyo, Toronto, Moscow, and London. This is an invasion. Stay confined to your rooms. Do not yield to curiosity. These creatures possess lethal powers, capable of snuffing out lives with a single gaze. May divine intervention guide us through this ordeal. Panic gripped my heart as the gravity of the situation sank in. The blaring sirens, the cacophony of car alarms, and the distant sounds of destruction painted a grim picture of chaos. It was as if the world had devolved into a war zone, yet devoid of conventional weapons. Helplessness washed over me, overshadowed only by the terrifying prospect of losing my family. Frantically, I reached out to my loved ones, desperately seeking any sign of their survival. Each unanswered message intensified the dread that swelled within me. The relentless blaring of the nuke sirens only added to the sense of impending doom, rattling my fragile existence. In the midst of the chaos, a knock echoed through my door. The desperation in the voice that followed tugged at my heartstrings. But I refused to yield. Fear locked my limbs in place, rendering me motionless. I clung to the meager hope that my isolation would keep me safe. Emergency alert. Attention, survivors. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The extraterrestrial invaders have withdrawn, leaving behind immeasurable devastation. Tap the button on your phone or tune into channel 104 on your radio to confirm your presence. We will provide further updates in 20 minutes. The weight of the silence that followed the alert was suffocating. As the dust settled, I realized that I had survived the unimaginable. The numbness that enveloped me was a stark contrast to the earlier fear, leaving me adrift in a sea of confusion. Questions swirled in my mind like a turbulent tempest. Why did they attack? What did they want? How could we rebuild from such catastrophic loss? The road ahead seemed insurmountable, but I couldn't succumb to despair. Humanity needed resilience and determination to pave the path towards a semblance of normalcy. Days turned into weeks, and the magnitude of the devastation became painfully clear. The global death toll stood at a staggering 1 billion lives lost, and the scale of destruction was incomprehensible. Humanity had been thrust into a dark and uncertain chapter, one where survival took precedence over everything else. Among the survivors, connections became lifelines. I discovered that only 3 individuals close to me had made it through the harrowing ordeal: my sister, my uncle, and my best friend. We formed a fragile support network, bound together by the shared trauma we had endured. Together, we mustered the strength to face the immense guilt that accompanied our survival. The weight of survivors' guilt bore down heavily upon me. It was as if I were carrying the weight of the fallen world on my shoulders. Thoughts of self-destruction invaded my mind, whispering that I was a coward for surviving while countless others had perished. The pain of loss and the overwhelming responsibility to rebuild gnawed at my sanity. Yet, deep within the recesses of my soul, a flicker of resilience persisted. As much as the guilt threatened to consume me, the spark of hope burned brighter. I couldn't succumb to the darkness. I owed it to the fallen to strive for a future worth living. In the ensuing weeks, efforts to regroup and re-establish a sense of order began. With the support of fellow survivors, we set out to document the extent of the devastation and ascertain the needs of the remaining population. It was a daunting task, but the indomitable spirit of humanity drove us forward. Slowly but surely, a semblance of society emerged from the ashes. Makeshift shelters were erected and basic necessities were distributed. The resilience of the human spirit was on full display as communities banded together, sharing resources and rebuilding what had been lost. As we moved forward, scientists and researchers tirelessly worked to unravel the mysteries behind the invasion. The origins and motives of the extraterrestrial beings remained elusive, but we clung to the hope that understanding would bring closure and prevent such tragedy from recurring. With time, the scars of the invasion began to fade, but they would forever be etched in our collective memory. Humanity had endured a cataclysm that tested our very essence, and we emerged battered but unbroken. Today, we stand on the precipice of a new era. The world we once knew may be forever changed, but the tenacity and resilience of humanity prevail. We honor the fallen by embracing life and rebuilding a society where compassion, unity, and vigilance serve as our guiding principles. To those who perished, you will never be forgotten. Your sacrifice fuels our determination to forge a better future. And to those who survived, let us carry the torch of resilience, standing united as a testament to the indomitable human spirit. Story 4. I'm an artist. Not one you've heard of, though that may be changing soon. Being an artist is about creation, not about commercial success. I wouldn't mind getting the occasional acceptance mixed in with the constant stream of rejection, of course, but it's a process. A long process, indeed. They say that most artists don't become famous until after they're dead. I'd always hoped that I'd make it slightly before that. The thought of my art being recognized and appreciated while I'm still alive was a tantalizing dream. Last year, I graduated with an MFA from a relatively prestigious institution, along with a dozen other aspiring artists. We all believed that taking on a mountain of debt was a worthy sacrifice for pursuing our artistic passions. Our small class created a tight-knit community, supporting each other's endeavors. However, I found true friendship in 2 fellow artists, Gerard and Albina. After completing our program, the 3 of us decided to continue living together. Sharing a house with others who understood the struggles of being an artist brought solace. It was comforting to have companions who could relate to the mixed emotions we experienced while sifting through mail, hoping for an acceptance but often facing rejection. Their presence reminded me that setbacks and failures were part of the artistic journey, and we weren't alone in our struggles. On Friday nights, we made it a tradition to visit local galleries. They served multiple purposes. Firstly, it provided insights into the kind of artwork that appealed to different galleries, helping us refine our own submissions. Secondly, it offered an opportunity to indulge in some lighthearted criticism of the selected pieces. And lastly, many of these galleries offered complimentary hors d'oeuvres and wine, making it an enjoyable social outing. However, I must admit that sometimes, observing other artists' finished works triggered a mix of admiration and frustration within me. I would question what made them decide that their creations were complete, while mine seemed perpetually unfinished. What justified the hefty price tags attached to their art? Jealousy often clouded my perception, creating a complicated relationship between me and the art world. Around a month ago, we stumbled upon a newly opened gallery called Sao 8. It had the familiar setup, with tall glass windows at the entrance, showcasing carefully placed artwork on bright white walls inside. It resembled any other gallery, except for the fact that the wine served at the opening was superior to what we usually encountered. As I casually explored the perimeter, Gerard suddenly appeared at my side, brimming with excitement. "Hey, congratulations," he exclaimed. "You weren't going to tell us. I can't believe you managed to keep this a secret." Puzzled, I responded, "Sorry, what?" "Oh, yeah, what indeed," Gerard replied, guiding me to where Albina stood, gazing at a painting. "There's a new gallery opening. We should all go, no reason." "Congrats." I gazed at the artwork before me in utter disbelief. It was one of my own pieces. I was certain I hadn't submitted anything to this gallery. In fact, I hadn't even heard of it until Albina mentioned its opening. I would have remembered receiving an acceptance letter or delivering a painting. Yet there it was, prominently displayed with my name and signature beside it. I recognized the piece as one I had created years ago, representing my artistic style during that period. However, I had long abandoned attempts to showcase it and had tucked it away among several other pieces. Clearly, the painting's current position on the gallery wall contradicted my memory of it. The evidence before my eyes forced me to consider the possibility that I must have submitted it without recollection. While I woke up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding in my chest. The nightmares had returned, haunting me with their twisted visions. The deaths of Albina and Gerard replayed in my mind, their tragic endings now intertwined with the strange occurrences at Sauheid Gallery. There was an undeniable connection, a sinister force lurking within the walls of that place. Determined to uncover the truth, I delved deeper into the mystery surrounding the gallery. My research led me to a series of articles documenting the rise of Sauheid and its enigmatic owner, Victor Roch. According to the reports, Roch was known for his uncanny ability to discover and showcase artists who were on the brink of success. His gallery had become a stepping stone for emerging talents, propelling them into fame and fortune seemingly overnight. But there was a dark side to Roch's success. Whispers circulated among the art community about the strange circumstances surrounding the artists whose works were displayed at Sauheid. Some claimed that Roch had an otherworldly ability to manifest the artist's unrealized potential, while others believed he made false bargains with them, trading their lives for artistic glory. The more I dug, the more unsettling the stories became. Accounts of missing artists, unexplained deaths, and mysterious disappearances began to emerge. It seemed that Sauheid was a place where artistic dreams intertwined with a malevolent force, consuming those who dared to step foot inside. Armed with this knowledge, I decided to confront Victor Roch and demand answers. I returned to the gallery, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. The atmosphere inside was eerie, the air heavy with a sense of foreboding. As I approached Roch's office, a chilling sensation crept up my spine, but I pressed on. I found Roch sitting behind a massive desk, surrounded by an array of paintings, each one more haunting than the last. His piercing eyes fixed on me as I entered the room, a knowing smile playing on his lips. "Ah, the artist who defies the boundaries of life and death," he said in a voice that sent shivers down my spine. "What brings you here, seeking the truth?" I mustered my courage and confronted him about the inexplicable presence of our art in his gallery, the paintings we had never finished. Roch leaned back in his chair, a mix of amusement and menace flickering in his eyes. "You see, my dear artist, Sauheid is more than just a gallery," he began. "It is a gateway, a portal between the realms of the living and the dead. I have the power to tap into the dormant potential of artists, to bring their visions to life, even beyond their own existence." His words sent a chill through my bones. I realized that Albina, Gerard, and I had become mere pawns in Roch's twisted game, lured by the promise of recognition and success, only to be consumed by his insatiable hunger for artistic brilliance. "But at what cost?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Why must lives be sacrificed for art?" Roch's smile widened, revealing a glimpse of his true nature. I recoiled in horror, realizing the magnitude of what I had stumbled upon. Roch was a dark force, feeding off the creativity and life force of talented individuals, exploiting their dreams for his own twisted purposes. With newfound determination, I vowed to expose Roch and put an end to his reign of terror. I would gather evidence, seek out other victims, and rally the art community against him. The truth must be unveiled, and the souls trapped within Sauheid must find release. Little did I know the dangers that lay ahead. As I delved deeper into the darkness surrounding the gallery, I would face unimaginable horrors, testing my courage and pushing me to the brink of madness. But I was determined to free Albina, Gerard, and all the other artists whose lives had been stolen by Victor Roch and his malevolent gallery. The battle between art and darkness had only just begun.